You have the eye for human weakness, but not the stomach.
What's this about?
Oh, just a feeling I have.
Ouch. When you get those feelings, insurance companies start to go bankrupt.
What kind of music do you usually have here?
Oh, we got both kinds. We got country and western.
Are you the police?
No, ma'am. We're musicians.
Love doing this next part with our guy Matt on baseball, but I do not like and I do not relish the idea of having to rub in his face that the man I call Mr. Baseball got it wrong and I got it right, but I think I have to do it. Matt, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good. If you recall, a couple of weeks back when we discussed and we're talking about some baseball, I asked, because I think this idea that Major League Baseball makes so much money off of gambling, right? I can't watch the Twins game without ESPN bets or the Golden Lion bet and the whatever they are. We don't have it here in Minnesota. Do you have it in Washington? Are you able to bet?
I'm sure that I can. I don't, but I'm sure that I would have access to that. Yeah.
We're not allowed to in Minnesota. So
really?
That being said, I asked you, I said, well, if you're going to do that, is there any way to keep Pete Rose out of the Hall of Fame? Do you recall what you said? I'm sorry, did you recall?
I do, and I drew a line between those who were ordinary people like us and then those who were in a position to affect the outcome of baseball.
Agreed. And so you didn't think that was a chance. And do you recall, you were out last week, do you recall what happened last week with Pete Rose, Shoeless Joe Jackson, all those? Do you recall, did you see that article? Little article?
Vaguely. I think that sounds familiar.
They let him back. What are your thoughts?
Interesting. So again, there's a distinction here between the ineligible list, right?
Yes.
People who are put on the ineligible list who can't have anything to do with baseball, and then election to the Hall of Fame. They're two separate things.
But now that you can't tell me that now that he's in the gang, there's any way they hold him out of the Hall. I mean, his numbers are too, right? I mean, you can't. If Pete Rose is in the group now, right? He's a honorable member of the Baseball Association or whatever. They can't keep him out of the Hall of Fame with his numbers, can they?
No, it's interesting because I don't think those two things were linked until about 25 years ago. Yeah. You could be on the ineligible list, which just kept you from being involved as a coach or a mentor.
Yeah.
And there was no link between that and the election to the Hall of Fame. But at some point, 25 to 30 years ago, those two things were linked. So, yeah I mean, look.
You're disappointed, aren't you?
I'd love Pete Rose. I had a baseball signed by Pete Rose that I can't seem to find anywhere. I think it's in my parents' stuff because I got it when I was in college a long time ago. So I'm a huge fan of what he accomplished on the field. But I think baseball has to decide whether integrity of the game matters and what that means, right? And is there a difference between sort of cheating on the field, either gambling to change the outcome or playing to change the outcome, or taking performance-enhancing drugs, which does affect your outcome on the field, and then something you do off the field that is despicable or nobody likes, but it has nothing to do with your performance on the field.
Well, let's go to Shoeless Joe then. Let's go back to Shoeless Joe. Yeah. They say he was cheating in the series, but if you look at his numbers, that's a hard case to he wasn't taking a dive. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So why is he being banned and he'll go in instantly, right?
Yeah, I think in his case, he took payment from gamblers to throw the series, but there's no indication he threw the series.
You can lose on your own.
And played his best, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I think he will get in. Just the process for that now. So there are a couple different committees in the Hall of Fame. There's one called the Historical Committee that will recommend 8 people to be considered from those who played before the 80s. Yeah. And then in December of 27, 2 years from now, that committee called the Era Committee will decide whether those 8 candidates get in or not. And the candidate needs 12 out of 16. So I don't know who's on that committee, but based on what you said, now that he's off the ineligible list, I can't see him not getting in. Yeah. I mean,
so let's talk Pete. Yeah. As far as we know, he says he never bet on his team to lose, which, okay, you're the manager. I'm going to do everything and win. Buddy, if it comes up your team's going to lose, I'll bet you $5. It was more than that, but the idea of betting on your team to win is one thing. But I don't know how baseball can stand on the idea that they're not going to get a ton more of this when gambling is now intricately involved with everything that has to do with baseball. You watch a sports report on ESPN in the morning, the odds of who's going to win, the plus 360 or the minus, this is a part of the game now, like it or not. And there's going to be kids who can make a couple of bucks on the side that are going to do it. They just are.
Yeah, I still think we should draw a bright red line between
Don't
me
disagree.
and those who are either managing or playing or can affect the outcome of the game, because that affects the core integrity of the game. Yes.
Well, even inside baseball, if you pardon this, the vernacular, even if you're just hanging around and you're one of the guys who, I'm the water boy, but I hear because of my job that somebody's not playing because of an injury, because of something, I go bet on it. You've got inside information. I'm not big on that. Regular guys are not. The players, obviously, the coaches, obviously, but there are other people that I wouldn't want around a baseball who should be able to gamble either, right?
Right. Yeah. No, you make a good point. That inside knowledge does matter.
Yeah.
That doesn't affect what happens on the field. It does, so that I think that should be the defining feature of what's allowed and what's not. If you can throw a game one way or another, then you shouldn't be gambling on that game. Now, in Rose's case, I just looked at the history a little bit. So he lied for many years, right? He denied betting at all. And then there was a department attorney who conducted the investigation for Major League Baseball, a guy named John Dowd, and he found that in 1987, when Pete Rose was the manager of the Reds, he bet on 52 Reds games.
Yep.
And so a third of the Reds games, and then hundreds of other games. And then there's some evidence that he probably bet while he was a player too. He denied it, and finally in a book he wrote in 2004, he admitted to betting on Reds games, but that's where he said he only bet on them to win. I mean, do we believe him or not, he was probably not the most upstanding man.
See, but on upstanding man stuff, I don't want to rip Babe Ruth because God, he's Babe Ruth, but Babe Ruth had some real issues himself.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, he wasn't, not on gambling as far as I know, but he was an interesting duck when you read about him. So if it's a personality trait, that's going to hurt baseball to define what's in or out. I have no problem if they kept him out. I presume, is it newspaper reporters? I don't know who makes those final votes. If they kept him out, it wouldn't bother me. I'm glad I'm glad he's back into the good graces of baseball, but any idea what changed that?
He was fun to watch as a player. I mean, and still holds the record for so many things, right? Hits and plate appearances and games played. And he played baseball like it should be played.
Mr. Hustle, Charlie Hustle. And as I remember it, I believe he's the one who started the Face First slide. If anything, he made it as popular as anything. And now everybody does it. Now they got the big mittens on. I'd love to hear what he had to say about the big mitten. What do you think of the big mitten?
No, I think that's why we're seeing more steals now. It gives the runners an advantage.
That's what I'm saying. You a fan of it?
No, I mean, I'm generally a conventional baseball fan. I like many of the old rules. A lot of the new rules they've instituted, I don't. You and I hate in extra innings putting the player on second base. I hate that, and I hope they get rid of that.
Here's the new rule that I want, because I've been watching the big glove. The big glove keeps getting longer and longer. I mean, and they've already got the bases bigger. Everything's working for the steal. Here's what I want them to do. Whatever you take to home plate at your at-bat, you must bring it around with you. So those guys that when they get to first base on a walk or a hit, and then they undress, they got the thing in the elbow and the shin pads, and then they got a little guy run out here, bring him his rubber glove, the big glove. I know. You're playing whatever you showed up with in the batter's box, take it with you. And let's see how much these guys wear all that crap around the bases. Wouldn't that work? If you're going to have the big glove, it better be in your back pocket when you're swinging the bat.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree with that. I think injuries are a terrible thing in baseball, right? So the two things that they wear now is that guard on their arm so they don't get a broken arm if they get hit, and then just something they clip onto their foot so they don't get a broken foot or ankle. I'm okay with that. You don't want that posing a threat to other players once they're on the base paths, right? But because I think those are heavy-duty things. But
wear them around. Yeah, see how many wear them if they do that. Back in the day, I love doing that because we're old. Those guys didn't have that crap. Now the gloves and everything else, these guys went out and played baseball, and were there injuries? I don't know. They played through them somehow. I don't remember a lot of stubbed toes. I don't remember a lot of jammed fingers by sliding into first base. Yeah. We got to fly. I got to go to break. We'll come back. We'll talk about the teams that we need to talk about, and I think you better be nice to my Twins.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc., Midwest Money Management, and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jay's can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is the guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052.
It's nice to know a guy that knows a guy. Al Travis.
He's Mr. Baseball to me. He's Matt on baseball. Matt, you gotta love my Minnesota Twins. We are hot. Hot.
13-game winning streak. How'd they pull that off? Wow.
Well, Byron Buxton is healthy. It's a couple of things. So now I think we've lost 2. We're 14 of our last 16. We're doing fine. We're not gaining much ground. We'll talk about that. But they played the other night against Cleveland right after it had rained. Everything was just sloppy. It was a nasty game. We have a hard enough keeping Buxton and Correa on the field when it's a bright sunny day. They trying to kill us? I mean, these guys are sliding around the outfield. It shouldn't have been played in my book. Your thoughts on that? I put a dome on it.
Yeah, that's when they had the collision.
No, actually, they had the collision 2 days before.
Oh, they did?
This was just last night's game. No, that collision was ridiculous. You're a baseball guy.
Yeah.
This isn't new pop-ups, to center field just out there. Correa should have gotten out of the way. That is an outfielder's ball, whether you hear him called or not. Yeah. So he got a concussion. He's out 7 days. I mean, it's good. It might be something to do with us not winning the last two. No, just yesterday's game was in right after it done downpour. It was sloppy wet. Wasn't fun. We lost that one 5-1. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, the conditions need to be decent, and most crews at most stadiums do a pretty good job, even at keeping things pretty dry, even when it rains. And they have to take this stuff off the field once it clears up. But so what were Correa and Buxton? Did they play a key role in the 13-game winning streak?
Buxton was. Buxton leads us in every category, hitting everything. The team average a month ago was not even 200. It's up to almost 250 now, and to drag that up after 50 games, that's how well we're hitting. We're hitting when we have to, and the pitching's pitching like we should. We have 3 very good starters right now. You enjoy them coming out. It's a different vibe. But that all being said, we've moved into second place, still 5.5 behind Detroit.
Yeah. Well, 2 things about that. One, yes, you would be the number 1 wild card if the season ended today, right? But Detroit has the best record in the major leagues, which really shows that last year wasn't a fluke. They have some really good young players, probably the best pitcher in the major leagues with Skubal, and then a couple of young pitchers too. Yeah, they're just a really well-rounded team.
Well, when I look at the Central now, and this is not what I was talking about, because, again, I didn't know Detroit was going to continue to be Detroit, but they are. But the top 4 teams, Cleveland on up, if I'm not mistaken, they all get into the playoffs, right? The best records with the wild cards?
Can they take cards, right?
So there'd be Twins, Kansas City, and Guardians right now. All of them would come out of the Central. We'd have 4 teams in it.
Wow, which is not what you would have expected at the beginning of the season.
And do you still expect it? I mean, we're literally 50 games in, so you're roughly a third of the way through. Is that fluky? Are you still expecting some to fall off? New York is New York, the Yankees, obviously. Boston, they got some work to do.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the game itself. Do we think all that changes, or is this pretty much the run it's going to be? People are going to have to catch the Central. Who would have thought that?
That's really surprising. Well, let's start with the East. Yeah, I think the Yankees clearly have been the class of that division. I think the Red Sox haven't been playing well lately, and I think they'll probably right now they're behind the Blue Jays, but I think they'll end up in at least second.
Yeah.
The Central, I mean, Detroit, I think right now has been playing like the class of the division, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
But then you've got the next. Minnesota's been amazing. You just called up that guy Zebby Matthews, who I think could be a really good pitcher. We'll see. And then Kansas City has 2 pitchers outright. Their top 2 pitchers, Lugo and Cole Reagan's are out now, but they'll be back soon enough. And then Cleveland always seems to do well. I mean, as Jose Ramirez playing third base for you, you're going to do pretty well. And they may get Shane Bieber back sometime during the season, which will be a huge asset. So, I mean, that's going to be the interesting division, I think, on the American League side.
All right. And on the National League, let's talk about them. Your Atlanta Braves, who you were ashamed of, I say, early in the season, they seem to have righted the ship, right? I mean, they're 6.5 out, but they're only a game and a half from, or a game, I guess, away from the New York Mets. You feeling better about your Braves?
Oh, yeah, much better. I mean, they started out 0-7. So when they were 0-7, they were the worst team in Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
That was not going to last. They've now just gotten Spencer Strider back, and they're going to get Ronald Acuna back in the next week or two. So, and without those guys, they've been one of the hottest teams in the National League. So I feel pretty good. I mean, in the East, I never expected the Mets to continue to be first and the top 3 of the Mets. You've got Francisco Lindor, Juan Soto, and Pete Alonso can compete with the top 3 of any team in the major. Yeah. They just don't have the pitching. And if you look at Philadelphia, their pitching is unbelievable. And then they have the lineup that's now heating up. So I think the Phillies are probably the team to beat in that division, and Atlanta will either beat them or finish second in that division, I'm guessing.
Did the Colorado Rockies got to be sold? I don't know how a team after 50 games can have 8 wins and have anyone show up, anyone care. And once that starts happening, no one shows them. You don't have the money to go buy another player. You don't have what it takes. Do you just shut her down? Do you have to sell to somebody who's willing to throw a lot of money at this to stop it?
It's funny about the White Sox. I mean, about the Rockies, because they have White Sox are also bad. They're just not Rockies bad.
Yeah.
But when I was, I manage a couple fantasy baseball teams, and Yahoo does this analysis and they've done analysis lately of a couple of players on the Rockies and said they're really good players, but nobody's touching them because they're on such a bad team. Yeah, I mean, you're always going to get the fan who likes to go and watch a game regardless of how bad the teams are, but still, how are they going to turn this around? The White Sox are doing a little better than they did last year, but
15 and 35. This is nothing to write home about, but again, that's double what the Rockies have. We got to fly. We're out of time. You know, I love having you on the program. I thank you for taking the time to be here. I love when you agree with me on stuff like Pete Rose, Minnesota Twins being great. I love that stuff, Matt. Thanks for coming on.
Good to be here. Thanks. I'll see you next time.
Matt on baseball on the Al Travis Show.